Imagine reaching a point where nothing can unsettle you, not harsh words, not cold silence, nor even betrayal. Most men are quick to react. A single criticism, a broken promise, or a minor delay sparks their anger, breeds bitterness, or drains their energy. It's not the world's harshness at fault, but their lack of mastery over their own emotions. But the Stoic philosophers understood something we've forgotten. Power belongs to those who stay calm under pressure. Mental strength isn't muscle power, but control. And self-control starts with an unshakable truth: you don't have to react. In this video, you'll learn how to build emotional control in the Stoic way. Discover how to prevent others from provoking you and preserve your inner peace. Standing firm like a man untouched by surrounding chaos, you'll see why reducing expectations isn't a sign of weakness, but true wisdom. Silence becomes not defeat, but a deliberate strategy. And remember, emotions themselves aren't the threat. It's how you respond to them that holds the real peril. If you've ever felt people undervalue your calmness or life always pulls you off balance, you're not alone. But today, everything changes. This isn't temporary motivation, but a profound transformation. Stay with me. What you're about to hear could change how you face every challenge. If you relate, like the video, subscribe, and share with someone who needs it. Because true power lies not in clamor, but in steadfast endurance. From this instant forward, no person or circumstance can dictate your inner tranquility. First, forge self-mastery into your unbreakable shield. There's a fleeting moment, often overlooked, where a man forfeits his authority, an interruption, amozzere, an ignore, and inwardly, turmoil erupts. His chest tightens, jaw clenches, voice bursts out, peace vanishes in a flash. Not because the other is strong, but because he reacted, and in that reaction, he surrenders. We often confuse reaction with strength. We think the one who growls back is powerful. But the truth is colder. Power isn't in the noise. It resides in the deliberate silence you elect to maintain. Self-mastery doesn't mean erasing emotions, but denying them dominion over your actions. You needn't turn stoic in numbness, but in precision. Anger surges as instinct, swift, loud, fervent, and perilous. It mimics decisiveness, yet frequently breeds remorse. When an insult strikes and you erupt, they've triumphed by piercing your composure. They decide your mental state, and you unconsciously let them script your life. The easily provoked person has no walls, no boundaries. His emotions are public property. Anyone can walk in, press a button, and take him over for a moment. Now, imagine another man. He hears the same insult, but remains unmoved, breathing steady. He's unblinking. He isn't repressing the urge to respond. He's commanding it through disciplined practice. For he grasps that emotional control isn't about projecting toughness. It's about refusing to surrender the keys to your serenity to outsiders. This embodies the Stoics' true might, not ego-driven, but rooted in governing your time, vitality, and inner realm. Perhaps you've experienced this. You're stuck in traffic. Someone cuts you off. Heart rate spikes. Words about to spill out. But then it passes. You're still tense, distracted, off balance. That's the cost of reaction. You pay it long after the moment is gone. The Stoic man understands this, so he pauses, He allows the emotion to peak, but refuses to let it rule. He takes a deep breath. He remembers that the world owes him no perfect order. Control rests in his hands. Most people live in survival mode, always ready to defend, prove, or retaliate. But that mindset weakens you. It places your identity in others' hands. If they insult you, you react. If they praise, you smile. You're no longer steadfast but reactive. The reactive person is a slave to the world's emotional waves. So how do you build the shield? Start with the pause. When provoked, don't speak hastily. Don't move impulsively. Feel the wave rise within you, but don't ride it. Observe it. Acknowledge it, but don't obey it. That moment of pause becomes your greatest strength, the place where you shatter the cycle of impulse. Over time, you'll grow less reactive and more composed. You'll cease countering noise with more noise. You'll avoid chasing justice in petty disputes. You'll guard your energy as if it were your very life because it is. This doesn't mean passivity. The Stoic man doesn't ignore injustice, but knows when to act and when to release. He knows when to speak and when silence holds greater power. He chooses his battles, and when he engages, he does so with clarity, not heated fury. You don't need to prove strength. You need to own it. The loudest in the room is often the most uncontrolled, the silent, calm, unblinking one commands. True respect. That's the man everyone reveres. From this moment onward, let calmness be your first instinct, not reaction. Make composure your habit. Let serenity define your character. When you master that, you become impenetrable, not because the world stops testing you, but because it can no longer reach what once controlled you. Second, lower your expectations of others. You're constantly disappointed because you set them too high. That's the trap. It starts subtly with a thought that someone should know better, do more, understand more. You expect them to say the right thing, value you, respect your boundaries without you saying so. But when they don't, you feel it. The frustration, the anger, even the sense of betrayal. You start believing people are letting you down. But the simple, harder truth is, they're just being themselves. The pain doesn't come from their behavior, but from your expectation that they should be different. Expectations are silent contracts you draft alone, with no one else signing. You think a friend will back you up. A partner will be more patient. A colleague will notice your effort, but they don't. And in the gap between what you anticipated and what you got, your peace evaporates. That gap breeds resentment. You carry the weight of expectations others can't meet, and it starts to crush you. The Stoic doesn't waste time blaming others for being who they are. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning that he'd encounter the ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, not out of pessimism, but preparation. When you accept human nature, you stop demanding perfection. You stop handing your peace to the next disappointment. You don't expect calm in a storm or clarity in chaos. You learn to see people as they are, not as you wish. Imagine entering a room with no expectations. You don't assume the waiter will be polite, the driver calm, or friends, remember your birthday. You observe, you interact, you respond, but not impulsively. You've freed yourself from the invisible strings of assumptions. You're no longer shocked when someone disappoints because you've let go of the idea that they owe you something they never promised. That freedom is subtle, but it changes everything. Most men tie their inner peace to how others behave. A stranger's rudeness can ruin their morning. A family member's silence can drag on tension for weeks. But what if you could untie that knot? What if you stopped expecting others to deliver your peace neatly wrapped? What if you stopped requiring imperfect people to act perfectly? That's where Stoicism breathes. It accepts reality on its own terms. It doesn't demand fairness from those who don't yet know what fairness is. It doesn't require understanding from those still battling themselves. It says, meet people where they stand and don't let it shake you. This is something you can do right now. Think of someone who consistently disappoints you, a friend, colleague, or relative. Ask yourself, am I hurt by what they did or by what I thought they should do? Write it down. Say it aloud. Let that question be your mirror, for in that moment of reflection, you'll see clearly you weren't betrayed. You just expected too much. Lowering expectations doesn't mean becoming callous. It means becoming clear-eyed. It's not the death of hope, but the birth of understanding. You don't need to stop caring about people. You need to stop letting your hopes for them become weapons they unwittingly use against you. Start today. Tell yourself, I will see others as they are, not as I wish. I won't beg rain to become sunshine. Instead, I'll build my shelter. That's Stoic freedom, not escaping others, but escaping the burden of needing them to change. Third, practice indifference to provocation. Some people don't seek peace. They want your reaction. They poke, prod. They wait for you to explode, because that's how they feel in control. When you lose your cool, they win. Not because they're stronger, but because they've drawn you into their chaos. The moment you react, you've entered their frame. You've let them define who you'll be. And that's the real loss, not the insult, not the argument, but allowing them access to your core. Indifference isn't numbness. It's not ignoring injustice or pretending it doesn't hurt. Stoic indifference means not letting anything unworthy of your energy take it. You choose where your mind lingers. You decide who gets access. You protect your focus like something sacred, because it is. Every time you let a fool provoke you, you leave your throne to wallow in mud. Recall the last time someone deliberately annoyed you. A stranger on the road, a disrespectful colleague in a meeting, a family member who knows just what to say to irk you. You feel the flame ignite, words forming, tension building in your chest. That's the deciding moment, the test. And most fail it. They speak too soon. They act too fast. They lose the very power they aimed to protect. Now, envision a different outcome. Same insult, same provocation, but this time, you pose. You feel the urge to respond, but you don't. You let the words fall without letting them seep in. You observe, then decide not worth it, and you walk away not in retreat, but in command. That's not weakness. That's dominion. The unblinking man holds the room. The calm one owns the moment. Epictetus said, if someone tries to hurt you and you don't accept it, they've failed, because pain requires permission. Insulting words only stick if you agree. But when you meet noise with silence, when you stop responding to every jab, you rise beyond their reach. You become untouchable, not by fighting harder, but by not fighting at all. This doesn't mean passivity. You still act when necessary. You set boundaries. You speak truth, but you pick your ground. You don't get dragged into every petty skirmish. You don't explain to those who only want to misunderstand. You don't argue with noise. You step over it with resolve. That's the Stoic's emotional power. It's training the mind for calm. Next time someone provokes you, try this. Pause for 3 seconds. Just 3. In that silence, feel it all. But don't act rashly. Ask yourself, do I really want to give them this control? Then decide. That pause is where character forms. The quiet separates the strong from the impulsive. Practice this daily in small moments, like at the market, in traffic, or during debates. Don't respond just to feel better. Let silence speak for you. Let calm disconcert them. The one who shouts has lost control. The unblinking one makes others shift. Let them talk. Let them mock. Let them try. But guard your energy like gold, because in the end, it is your greatest treasure. When you no longer react to every provocation, you gain something rare. Clarity. Peace. You reclaim yourself. Start now. Find a situation today where you'd normally snap, but this time don't. Smile. Breathe. Move on. That's how the Stoic wins. Quietly and utterly, on his own terms. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. That irritating moment. The unexpected challenge. It's not chaos, but a mirror. Life is showing you who you really are when things don't go your way. Most people falter. They complain. They ask, why me? But the Stoic man asks, what am I called to build in myself right now? Pain isn't personal. It's a lesson. Each disappointment is weight to forge character. Every failure is a forge for discipline. But only when you stop reacting and start responding. Only when you cease seeing yourself as victim and become the architect of your inner strength. The world doesn't get easier. You just get better at navigating it. When someone disrespects you at work, when your partner snaps unexpectedly, when plans crumble at the finish line, you're in life's gym with 2 choices. Let the moment shrink you, or let it sharpen you. Most men rage and blame. A Stoic breathes, observes, learns, then decides, I won't waste this pain. The truth is, ease doesn't build character. Stress does. Inconvénients douce. Tough conversations. Betrayals. Delays. They're not obstacles on your path. They are the path. But you only see that when you stop fleeing and start using them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, fire turns what it burns into flame. That's not poetry. It's practice. What seems to break you becomes your fuel. It's easy to be kind when others are kind. Easy to stay calm when the world complies. But when someone yells in your face, when life throws curveballs, when pride is wounded, that's when you know. That's when your values stop being theory. They're tested. That's when strength shows. Not in comfort, but under pressure. And the man who stays calm under pressure can handle anything. Don't wait for the world to make things easier for you to grow. It won't. What you can do is change how you view hardship. Not as interruption, but invitation. You're invited into a stronger version of yourself. And you don't need a perfect life to do it. You just need to see every uncomfortable moment as exercise, even the small ones. A delayed email, a cold glance, traffic jam. That's where the real work happens. Quietly, daily, intentionally. Here's how to apply it. Next time frustration rises, catch it early. Don't run from it. Name it. Then ask, what is this shaping in me? And consciously choose how you'll respond. Will you yell and lose control? Or stand firm and build resilience? Will you argue or hone your calm? Strength isn't a switch. It's what you practice in moments like these, not pretending you don't feel, but choosing not to let feelings rule. You're allowed to struggle, but you don't have to fall. You're allowed to feel the burn, but you also have the power to turn that fire into fuel. Next time life pushes back, don't see it as an insult. See it as opportunity, a chance to forge what no one sees: your character, self-control, and quiet strength. Fifth, observe emotions without letting them rule. A man doesn't fall because he feels. He falls because he follows every feeling. Anger rises, and he acts. Fear whispers, and he freezes. Shame appears, and he hides. But what if you could watch all of it, like clouds crossing the sky, without becoming the storm? This isn't denying emotions, it's stripping their control. Emotions are signals. They come fast, hot, but they're not commands. You're not your rage. You're not your anxiety. You're the witness to their arrival. And if you learn to observe without merging, you keep your freedom. Freedom isn't suppressing feelings, it's refusing to be dragged by them. It's a choice you can train like a muscle. The Stoics don't tell you not to feel. They say feel, but don't blindly follow. Imagine standing in a crowded room. Someone mocks you. You feel the surge. Jaw tightens. Heart races. It's real. But pause. Instead of lashing out, breathe. Instead of retaliating, label it. This is anger. I feel it, but I won't act on it. You've just broken the chain. You've taken the wheel of your life. Most people can't do this. They live on autopilot. They believe if a feeling arises, it must be expressed. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Between stimulus and response lies a space, and in that space, you reclaim power. This is where emotional strength is built, not by pretending you're unaffected, but by standing firm as the inner storm rages. To do this, train awareness. Notice without judgment. A thought comes, don't grab it hastily. An emotion swells. Don't let it steer you. Observe. And in observing, you create distance. In that distance, you find your power. We often act before thinking, then blame the world for the damage. But chaos starts not outside, but inside, from the unquestioned urges. When you give emotions the microphone, your values go silent. When you let impulses lead, your wisdom sits forgotten in the corner. The Stoic man reverses that order. He sees the fire, but chooses not to burn. He feels the sting, but doesn't strike back. Knowing strength isn't violent force, but restraint. And restraint isn't weakness, it's clarity. The gentle command of one who's learned to wait, watch, and choose. You can start practicing now. At work, when annoyance builds. At home, when disappointment hits. In fatigue. In provocation. Before speaking. Pause. Before acting. Check the emotion. Ask, what am I feeling, but what do I want to build from this? If the answer isn't useful, let it pass. If it's growth, proceed. But only after the inner storm calms. Just 10 seconds of awareness can change everything. This isn't theory, it's practice. Emotional endurance isn't loud or showy. It doesn't need applause. It lives in the silence between your feelings and your choices. And each time you pause, that silence grows stronger. You might think not reacting is loss, but you're gaining it all. Balance, vision, dignity. The world doesn't need more men shouting back. It needs those who stay silent, see clearly, and act only when ripe. So start now. Next time emotions surge like a wave, don't fight it or chase it. Stand still, breathe steady, observe, and move with choice, not impulse. Sixth, be grateful even in discomfort. Gratitude is easy when the sun shines and all goes well. But when morning starts with bad news, when a trusted friend lets you down, when traffic steals a precious hour, what then? Most people grumble. They replay the moment. They seek someone to blame. And with each complaint, they dig deeper into bitterness. But the Stoic doesn't. Here he says, knowing gratitude isn't reserved for ease. It's a tool for clarity. Gratitude in pain isn't pretending it doesn't hurt. It's recognizing that within discomfort lies growth opportunity, a moment to hone patience, test endurance, stretch humility. While others dwell on what's missing, the Stoic seeks what's possible. A lesson, a shift in perspective, an inner muscle being trained. He sees discomfort not as peace's interruption, but where true peace is proven real. Imagine you're in line, running late, phone buzzing non-stop, nothing moving. You feel the heat rise, want to sigh, snap, want the world to cooperate. But instead, breathe, look around and tell yourself, this too can teach me. Suddenly, it's no longer a weight, it's training ground. You're not wasting time, you're building tolerance. That shift, that single choice to reframe the moment, is how emotional strength is tempered. Most men avoid hardship. They seek convenience. But that breeds softness, not strength. You grow when life pushes back and you choose to engage. When you ask, what does this frustration reveal about me? That question turns annoyance into insight. And when you're grateful for the moment showing what needs work, you've taken the first step to real resilience. Seneca said, a gem can't be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials. That's not metaphor. It's reality. Growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from resistance. But only when you meet hardship with the right mindset. Gratitude is that mindset, not grateful for injustice or cruelty, but for the chance to respond better than before. This is the pivot. You stop begging life for ease. You start begging to be stronger. And each tough moment answers that. Gratitude becomes strategy. You use it to alter how you experience setbacks. It doesn't mean you like what happens. It means you refuse to waste what happens, even pain. So, here's your exercise. At day's end, recall one discomforting moment, a small irritation. Then ask, what did this let me practice patience? Ego check breathing before speaking. That's gratitude. Not for the event, but the opportunity it brought. Write it, speak it, let it change how you meet tomorrow. Most live reactively. The wise live to refine. They don't expect comfort. They forge clarity, and when pain comes, they meet it calmly, without panic. They don't welcome every situation, but they refuse to leave without learning. Do this not once a week, but daily. Anchor gratitude in pain. Plant it in absence. And watch your mind shift not to fake positivity, but real emotional independence. That kind of gratitude keeps you steady in chaos, focused in noise, and more present than anyone around. 7th, use time to shrink problems. A small flame looks huge when your face is too close, but step back, and it's just a flicker. That's time's power on issues. It doesn't change facts. But alters perspective. What seems unbearable today often shrinks when viewed from afar, but most never step back. They live with faces pressed to every annoyance, every insult, every delay, burning in moments that should pass. Time is the wise man's scalpel. It cuts through the illusion that now is everything. It teaches better questions. Will this matter in a month, a year, 5 years? And suddenly, the sarcasm, cancelled plan, missed chance or lighten. For most things that rattle you aren't eternal. They're fleeting, and a mind that waits suffers no second wound. You miss a flight. You lose a deal. Someone forgets thanks. In the moment, heart races, mind reels. You build stories. Rehearse responses. Nurture grudge. But pause not to deny, but to see further. Whisper to yourself, this will pass. In a year, I won't even recall. That thought alone draws the venom from nearly any emotion, not by force, but by perspective. Many mistake urgency for importance. They treat everything as dire, every argument like the last, every mistake like catastrophe. But urgency is a lie, and the wise know it. They don't rush to fight battles time will resolve. They conserve energy. They discern which pains to confront, which to endure. That's not apathy. It's discipline. Imagine standing in a storm, rain pouring, wind howling. You're soaked, shivering, angry at the sky, but someone says the storm ends in 5 minutes. You won't panic. You'll wait. That's perspective's power. The ability to hold ground, not because it's easy, but because you know it's temporary. You suffer more believing storms last forever. But the wise know most don't. Seneca reminded, we suffer more in imagination than reality. Applying time to pain lessens imagination's grip. A minor insult fades by next week. Failure becomes stepping stone by next year. Heartbreak turns memory with softened edges over time. And when you internalize that, you stop bleeding from shallow cuts. Here's a simple practice. When something bothers, don't ask, why me? Ask, how long will this matter? Answer honestly. The truth is briefer than your reaction. That's your cue to release. And releasing isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Let the emotion come. Feel it. But don't let it shape your identity. Let time wash it away while you stand firm. You don't need to react to every discomfort. You don't need to explain your calm to those who only rush. What you need is to understand peace grows as your view widens. Let time be your ally. Use it to filter what's worthy of your energy, what isn't, and you'll realize how many problems seemed big only because you stood too close. Step back, breathe, enlarge the picture. In 5 years, most of what worries you today won't count. So don't let passing clouds block your light. Let time reveal what truly matters. Let perspective restore peace and navigate today with a steady mind, grounded in distance, not noise. That's how you rise quietly, unshaken. Every man craves strength, not the noisy kind that draws eyes, but the quiet kind that can't be moved. What you've heard today isn't theory, it's practice, the silent discipline of emotional control, the ability to pause, think, choose, and protect peace, like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. When you master reactions, lower expectations of others, and view each disappointment as a test of mettle, you change. You're no longer enslaved to feelings. You're not pulled every way by noise, people, or circumstances. You start living awake. Stoics aren't saints. They're men who struggled like you, but they trained their minds daily through reflection, stillness, intentional response. And now you can too. You don't need perfect conditions to start. You just need to show up. You need to practice. Remember, inner peace isn't found. It's built one habit, one choice at a time. So today, begin small. When someone says something rude, don't retort. When plans shift, don't complain. When discomfort arises, meet it with awareness. Train emotional strength like a muscle. Turn every challenge into your training ground. And over time, the world remains noisy, but you aren't. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What recent moment tested your peace? How did you respond? Let this be a journal of growth, a reflection of who you're becoming. Remember, true stillness isn't absence of conflict. It's refusing to let your mind join the chaos. Hold that truth, live it, and carry it quietly but firmly.